Everyone that I know is forecasting a meaningful increase in inflation in coming months from tariffs because someone has to pay for the tariffs.
That was Jerome Powell this week, literally telling you that your prices are about to go up and there's nothing he's going to do to stop it. But what he said next reveals the secret plan to raid your savings. And if you don't understand how they're doing it, your financial future is about to get crushed. Stay with me. This gets darker than you think.
We expect a meaningful amount of inflation to arrive in coming months. And we have to take that into account. Decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged.
You heard it correctly. No rate cuts again. But did you catch what Powell actually admitted? He just confessed to something that should terrify every American. The Fed held rates at 4.25 to 4.5% for the fourth straight meeting. But here's the thing. Their own projections show 1.4% economic growth with 3% inflation. That's stagflation, the economic nightmare that destroyed the 1970s. Powell's exact words.
We expect a meaningful amount of inflation to arrive in coming months.
Translation, they know your money is about to lose value, and they're choosing to let it happen. This is the secret plan to raid your savings. They're going to let inflation eat away at your purchasing power while keeping your savings account earning practically nothing. But why would they deliberately choose stagflation? The answer is more calculated than you think. I mean, here's what some economists think. Stagflation isn't a mistake. It's a feature. It keeps the system stable while regular people pay the price. Stagflation is when you have slow growth plus high inflation, which means your money loses value while opportunities disappear. The Fed's own dot plot shows they've cut their rate cut projections from 4 to just 2 for 2025. Why? Because higher rates prop up government bonds and the dollar while crushing your purchasing power. Powell admitted,
no one holds these rate paths with a great deal of conviction.
They're literally winging it with your future. The real strategy? Keep rates high enough to prevent a currency crisis, even if it destroys middle-class wealth. But here's the part that should make you furious. They've done this before, and the evidence is hiding in plain sight. Maybe you remember the 1994 bond crisis that economists still call a massacre. Bonds lost 2.9%, and it nearly broke the system. Want to know what's happening right now? Treasury bonds have lost 46% since March 2020. That's 16 times worse than the 94 massacre. 30-year bonds are down 53%, the worst performance in 250 years of recorded history. Corporate profit warnings hit 62 in Q1 2025. That's 18% of companies warning about the future. But here's the insane part. The Fed is acting like this is totally normal. Powell's response to the bond crisis?
And we have to take that into account.
That's it. But if you think the bond massacre is bad, wait until you see what's happening to your everyday expenses. Here, let me show you exactly how the Fed's decisions flow straight from their boardroom into your bank account. And it's not pretty.
The housing market is a longer run problem and also a short run problem. I don't think it's indicative of, basically the situation is we have a longer run shortage of housing, and we also have high rates right now.
That's Powell acknowledging they're deliberately keeping rates high despite knowing it hurts housing. Your mortgage. If you're buying a house today, you're paying 7%, while last year's buyers pay 3.5%. That's an extra $800 per month on a $400,000 mortgage. $800 more every single month for 30 years. That adds up to $288,000 more over the life of the loan. That's almost enough to buy a second house, just because of when you were born.
The best thing we can do for the housing market is to restore price stability in a sustainable way and create a strong labor market,
while keeping rates that prevent both. Your credit cards are now charging 20.78%, the highest in history, while your savings earn 0.5%. Your business loans, small business rates have doubled, while big banks get bailout programs. Remember Silicon Valley Bank? $42 billion in withdrawals. Complete collapse, but every depositor got made whole. The Fed created the Bank Term Funding Program overnight, Unlimited bailouts for banks, higher rates for you. But here's what really happened in that closed door meeting when they decided your fate. They needed a reason to keep rates high without looking like the bad guys. And then the perfect excuse landed right in their laps: tariffs. Powell just gave away the game with one sentence. He said tariffs will cause meaningful inflation. But that's not the real reason they won't cut rates.
Doesn't the data you're seeing today indicate there should be a rate cut?
No, I mean, monetary policy has to be forward-looking. That is elementary. Everyone that I know is forecasting a meaningful increase in inflation in coming months from tariffs because someone has to pay for the tariffs.
The Yale Budget Lab estimates 1.4% price increases from proposed tariffs. But here's the truth. They're using tariffs as cover for a deeper strategy. The real reason? They need to keep rates high until they can engineer a soft landing that protects institutional wealth. Fed officials now openly discuss a bit more stagflation, slow growth with high inflation. So if the insiders know this is coming, what are they doing to protect themselves? You see, while Powell talks about data dependence, the smartest money managers I know are making 3 specific moves. Here's their exact playbook. Move number 1. Lock in fixed rate debt now. They know rates aren't coming down anytime soon. And here's something most people don't know. There are still ways to access capital at 0% interest if you know where to look. I just helped someone get $150,000 with no collateral and 0 interest last month. The banks created these programs themselves, but they're not exactly advertising them. If your credit's decent, you should probably check that out at loopholelending.com before rates get worse. Move number 2, own real assets that grow with inflation, like real estate, commodities, and cash flowing businesses. Move number 3, position for the next crisis, because the bond market massacre is just getting started. What you can do right now? Don't wait for the Fed to save you. Assume they'll protect the system first, you second. Use any fixed rate debt strategically. Lock it in before they change their mind. Own assets that beat inflation. Your savings account paying 0.5% is guaranteed wealth destruction. Stay liquid and flexible. When the next shoe drops, you want to be ready to move. But there's one more thing that should keep you up at night. The Fed's strategy is controlled demolition. Let pressure build until something snaps. Then they'll ride in as heroes with emergency rate cuts after your wealth is already destroyed. But you don't have to take my word for it. Yesterday, Powell said the quiet part out loud.
Someone in that chain that I mentioned, between the manufacturer, the exporter, the importer, the retailer, ultimately somebody putting it into a good of some kind, or just the consumer buying it.
And there it is, straight from the Fed chair's mouth. You are going to pay. They know it. They could cut rates to help offset the pain, but they're choosing not to. You just learned the real playbook while everyone else watches the headlines. The question isn't whether this will happen, it's whether you'll be ready when it does. Drop your prediction below. What breaks first? The bond market, the housing market, or something else entirely? Hey, quick thing before you go. I'm running this weird experiment where I basically pay people to do real estate deals for them. And then I split the profits with them 50-50. And you can watch this right here to get all the details. And yeah, I know it's probably the most ridiculous offer that I've ever made, but it's working like crazy. And if you're thinking there's a catch, you would be right. I can only work with 2 to 3 people per city. So if you're curious, check out this video here to see if your market's still open. Or don't. It's not for everyone. Thanks for watching though. I'll see you next time. Take care.